You may have heard some of the stuff in this video, but you probably haven't heard everything in this video. But we have to start at the beginning. So the countdown. This started on May 30th, 2018. Initially, the expectations were for a New Vegas style spin-off, and by the end of it there was a trailer that didn't explain anything. But it did subtly hint that this was different. Todd got up on stage and told us 76 was online only, there was no human NPCs, PvP would be optional, it was a creation engine tweaked for multiplayer, and yeah, you know the rest. The reaction to E3 was a healthy amount of skepticism, because a lot of people were thinking Fallout 4 already wasn't great. There was a lot of anger that it wasn't the New Vegas-like spin-off that we were expecting, and there was a lot of anger about the online-only NPC situation. Also, real quick, if you want to buy a mug, they're 20% off until February 4th with the code 50K. So then we got the beta. They were actually pretty clever with the name on this. They called it the Break It Early Testing Application. Very Vault-Tec coded. And the beta showed a lot of problems. There was server crashes, your quest progress would just wipe, your quest also just wouldn't progress, enemies wouldn't spawn, they'd be invincible, and there was thousands of other bugs. These were notably not fixed for release. So then came the launch. Turns out PvP wasn't optional if you knew what you were doing. It being a Bethesda game and all, people just figured out how to get around all of that. Your camp would constantly reset itself every time you got online, or even just switch servers. Like I said, thousands of other bugs. I'm not here to talk about bugs. You guys have heard about the bugs a million times. There was absolutely no endgame content, so players made their own, and more on that in a bit. The design fail of 76. The survival mechanics were nothing to speak of. Like if you run out of water and food, it didn't do anything. You got a little bit of a debuff. And losing all the junk on your character when you die is not that much of a penalty. It's not that big of a deal. The camp building was bare bone and broken. This would quickly become the primary source of monetization. More on that later. The story of the game was just a holotape scavenger hunt. And funny enough, the no NPCs ended up being one of the only things Todd said that wasn't a lie. Real quick, we'll just touch on the reviews. On Metacritic, it got a 52 out of 100 critic score and a 2.8 out of 10 user score. Real fast, why do they do this? And the game went on sale pretty much instantly from $60 down to $10 pretty quickly over the span of a couple weeks. They were even bundling it for free with things like controllers. The Canvas Bag. This came with the $200 Power Armor edition of the game, which is the collector's edition. Well, it was promised to be a canvas bag, but they actually shipped was a nylon bag. They offered 500 atoms in return as a sorry, which is $5. They got sued, and they eventually sent out all of the canvas bags. Well, that was if you requested it in time. There was a lot of account security issues. People would log in and just be on a completely different character. Some devious vault dwellers discovered how to steal other people's inventories. They could even take your Pip-Boy, because the Pip-Boy is actually an item in your inventory. It's just invisible in the Pip-Boy menu. But yeah, they could take that and it would result in your character being bricked because you couldn't open your Pip-Boy. Bethesda eventually fixed it and made it so every time your character logged onto a server, it would check to see if you had a Pip-Boy and give you one if you didn't. Many accounts were hacked because I guess the VoIP was peer-to-peer. I'm not exactly sure how any of that works, but that's just something that I've been told. And of course, Bethesda themselves exposed the personal information of a lot of people who bought. Now, of course, that was on accident, but they still did it. So the Atom Shop. This was, of course, preached to be cosmetic only. The main use of the Atom Shop is to resell camp items and clothing from Fallout 4. Of course they make new assets, of course new stuff comes out, but they have sold so much shit from Fallout 4. But in addition to the Atom Shop, there is some shady monetization. A lot of the features they add, it's with the primary goal of being able to sell you more of that thing. So some examples of this are pets, player and camp titles, fishing, XP boost with lunchboxes, scrap repair kits and perk packs, camp items, clothing, allies, weather machines, shelters, and emotes. And this is just some example. There's more shit. There are even weapons on the season boards, and if you miss it, they will sell you it in the Atom Shop. Real fast, gotta talk about Fallout first. It's $100 a year or $13 a month. It gives you private servers that sometimes just aren't private. They've pretty much fixed it now, but you used to be able to find other people in your private worlds. And you still can get a reused world that had someone clearly in it before you loaded it up. It gives you unlimited junk storage, which is a huge deal in the game. You get exclusive items from the Atom Shop, and sometimes you actually get the privilege to buy something. Like you get the privilege to give them more money. And they give you like 1,400 atoms monthly or something like that. Wastelanders is the big update that a lot of people point to as the point that Fallout 76 got fixed. It was the NPC update. It added dialogue from 3 in New Vegas. I wonder why they didn't add the dialogue from 4. It added the 2 main factions in the game, which are the Settlers and the Raiders. They are incredibly low impact. It didn't fix bugs. The performance after Wastelanders got way worse somehow. I say somehow, but it's probably because of all of the new NPCs. But this update did not fix 76. Then there was Limbo. From about Wastelanders to the show, which is from 2020 to 2024, the biggest updates we got were Expeditions, which were short, lame, and shit, Daily Ops, which are somehow worse. Balance updates did not happen, unless it was to nerf something that somehow slipped through and ended up being fun. Because at this point, 76 was being run off of a small team paid with lint and paper clips. But it is hard to blame these people, as there was just no budget for the game. The intended endgame was to assemble armor and do events. And what I mean by that is in the game, in order to get the perfect set of armor or the perfect weapon, they wanted you to sit there and play a slot machine. Rolling random stars on items was how you were supposed to get everything. But the players saw it different. You see, because Fallout has always had this element of, oh, what's that? I want that. And in a multiplayer game, you can't have those kinds of items. Because, in Fallout 4, if you saw something and you wanted it, but it wasn't available to you, you could just spawn it in. You could just have it. But in a multiplayer game, you're obviously based on servers and everything, so you just can't do that kind of stuff. Or can you? The endgame became obtaining the items that you aren't supposed to have. This includes quest items, so a lot of the quest items in the game would have a really nice design. Like David's trophy, for example. That's a nice item. And 76 has the ability to display items. So the idea was you would steal these items from quests, and then you could display it and show what you've done. Another avenue for this is cut content. Now I know what you're thinking, that sounds ridiculous. How would you possibly have cut content? Because even if you were to obtain cut content, surely the developers would just take it from you, right? No, they fucking don't. There are literally hundreds of items in the game that are not actually seen anywhere in the game, but a lot of players are running around with them. Now, of course, some are more rare than others, but if you play 76, on PC, mind you, I don't know anything about how the console versions work, but on PC, if you play 76, then you know about this shit. And I mean if you actually play it. There are also BA2 mods. We'll talk about that in a bit. And like I said, eventually most players realize this. So some examples of cut or injected content. You have the legendary wedding rings, coats, and mole heads. Yeah, someone just added effects to these items. I don't know how they did it, but these items are not supposed to have stars. I can't stress that enough. Apparel is not supposed to be legendary, but someone found out how to make it legendary, duped the fuck out of it, and spread it across Appalachia. There's NPC clothing and armor, and what I mean by that is some NPCs have unique clothing. Take Duchess' outfit, for example. It's an outfit that only the NPC Duchess wears. She will not give it to you, but here it is. There are cut quest items. Now this is a tier deeper than quest items, but there are a lot of items in the game that look really cool, but they're not in the game anywhere. But don't worry, got those too. There's a lot of cut plans in the game. Once you learn the plan, you can build the item infinitely. Well, there's a lot of them that were cut out of the game, and people got them, and some of them work. And there's injected items from Fallout 4. These are your animatronic alien blasters, a lot of weird mod boxes. All of these items were obtained by stealing from the dev room, exploits, trade, accidental. And this is why Bethesda really can't take much action. They can't just run a scan and be like, oh, this person has this item, we can punish him. Because someone could just walk up to a new player and just drop these items on the ground for them. The player is not going to know anything about it, so they're just going to pick them up. Another player could walk up to a player vendor and just buy it out of a vending machine, not knowing what it is. So Bethesda doesn't take individual action on players. And of course, another way you can get these things is by duping. Gotta mention the dev room raids. They've gone on since day one. It continues to this day. They go in, grab stuff, transfer it, repeat. The items are duped, traded, or sold for RMT. And I want to know, is there any other game that has this going on? I've tried and I cannot think of a single other game that just lets their players have the cut content. I feel this makes 76 extremely unique, and it's almost like they know it's the endgame, and that's why they don't do much about it. We could talk about the BA2 mods. A lot of this stuff I don't think you're going to find in other 76 videos, but basically cheating in 76 is just called modding. The key difference in 76 is that you're cheating against Bethesda and not players. I mean 99% of the time. Of course you still have people that, it's like every other game. But most people using these mods are doing it for quality of life. Some of them are extremely powerful, like no reload, faster fire rate, and no clip. Now I don't like cheating in any game, but it is funny that in 76, I would say 99% of the cheating goes on versus Bethesda, not versus players. TV show. So like I've said before, Bethesda didn't expect the TV show to succeed, so they had nothing ready besides a ghoul skin for the Atom Shop. Now to be fair, I believe they gave this away for free and they didn't make people pay. But after the success of the show, they hired people. And since the show, they have released Skyline Valley, the first map expansion, Gleaming Depths, Gleaming Depths, I can't say that word. The first raid, Ghoul Within, the first new race, Gone Fission, the first fishing mechanic, and to be honest, maybe the first actually new mechanic the game has ever seen. Camp Revamp, which is the first build mode update ever, and Burning Springs, which is the second map expansion. This game came out in 2018. Since the TV show, there has been 5 firsts in 2024 to 2025. 5 major ones. And I bring all of this up because I saw comments on my first video when I shit talked 76, where people would say that there was meaningful updates before the show and the show didn't really do much. Are you fucking kidding me? Before the show, the main update was Wastelanders. There wasn't anything else that groundbreaking. Fucking expeditions don't count. Expeditions were hated. Since the show, these updates are in a fucking row. On top of all of this on the screen, they have completely revamped the perk system, the legendary system. You no longer have to roll random effects. You can now just get mod boxes and apply whatever mods you want. They've added 4th star legendary effects for weapon and armor, and just a ton of other things. The game definitely gets updates now. That doesn't mean any of this stuff is good content, but it does get way bigger updates now. So why do people think 76 is fixed? I think because it's playable, there's NPCs, your inventory is safe, it won't randomly delete all of your progress anymore, and you can have fun if you make it yourself. Thanks for watching. Like I said earlier, I'm a mug salesman now, so if you want to buy a mug, the link is down below. Thank you to all the doodles on the board. It is genuinely insane how many people have signed up. And yeah, obviously I have some experience with 76, and it's because I love Fallout. And for a while I decided if that's the only thing we're gonna get, then I'm gonna try and enjoy it. I think it's a very interesting story what 76 has become. Yeah, so if you liked the video, I'd appreciate you leaving a like. Helps the video a lot. And I mean, you're here, I'm here. We're both just here, so it would be a little awkward if you didn't like the video. I mean, I am watching right now. Thanks for that.